Holy hot flashes. At 58 years old, I am still cycling regularly. I'm not riding a bicycle. Periods. And guess what? I don't get hot flashes. Now, I'm not bragging about that. This sucks. Trust me. Not that I want hot flashes. I just want whatever this is, whatever is going on with this body right now to be over. I am still menstruating after 45 fucking years. And if my saying fuck offends, I don't care. I've earned the right after 45 years of fucking periods. And if this resonates, this one's for you. I am very much living inside a body that refuses to follow a timeline the world says should already be over. The average age of menopause in the United States is about 51 or 52. Most women begin the transition somewhere between 45 and 55. Some earlier, some later. So yes, my experience is not typical. But here's the problem. When we only talk about typical, we ignore a whole subset of women who don't fit neatly into the average. And every other midlife podcaster and their experts put it all in a neat little package. And it isn't. And I listen to them and I'm like, hey, hello, over here. Like me, I don't fit into this. And that's where confusion begins. That's where frustration begins. That's where my frustration begins. And that's where women start questioning why. Hello, what about me? Because perimenopause and menopause are not just about hot flashes and missed periods, as I'm sure you all know. They can show up as anxiety, as rage. Ask my family. It's brain fog, insomnia, exhaustion, a loss of focus, a version of yourself you barely recognize. And too often, those symptoms get mislabeled, dismissed, or minimized. So today we're talking about it honestly. Welcome back to Sip on This, the show where we talk love, life, careers, and menopause, or not. If this is your first time joining me, then welcome. I am your host, Deirdre Haggerty, an ICF certified coach and the founder of Coaching with Ms. D, which offers life, relationship, and career coaching to help you align your values and vision for life. I am so excited you're joining me today to have a conversation, coffee or tea in hand, as we chat about life, careers, relationships, and all the little things that can shape who we are. I won't lecture you or tell you what to do. It's just the two of us in a coffee shop chatting about topics that make us laugh or drive us nuts, like still menstruating at 58. If you can relate, again, this podcast is for you. So let's start with the average versus reality, okay? But before I proceed, I really want to clarify something. I am not a medical professional, nor will I have a medical professional on here telling you my opinion or what they think. I am a certified coach. I am under the care of a physician for my particular set of circumstances. And the following stats that you're going to hear throughout this podcast is all available online. That's where I researched them from. So again, let's go back to the average age of menopause, 51 or 52. But average does not mean universal. Some women transition earlier, some later. Some, like me, are still cycling well into their late 50s and even 60s. I'm going to tell you, my mother finished in her early 60s. It was crazy that I would still be having children and having my period and, well, I still have my period, and going to her house. And if I didn't have a pad, I knew I could go look under my mother's sink and she would have them. And when you fall outside of this average, it can feel like your body is doing something different. Not wrong, because there's nothing wrong about this. It's just not what you see or hear. And that's why I decided to kind of put my story out there and be vulnerable. I want to emphasize that it is absolutely not wrong. The distinction is important. Your body is doing something individual. And since I've always danced to the beat of my own drum, I guess my body is just following along. I kind of embrace it, except when I'm experiencing PMS and cramps. Yay me. Because that didn't go away either. just because I'm 58. So, what is perimenopause really? Okay, I'm not revealing anything new. You've most likely heard it on, like I mentioned earlier, another podcast from friends or hopefully from your individual doctor. But in general, perimenopause is the transition leading up to menopause. And here's what no one explains well enough. It is not just physical. It is neurological, it is emotional, it is hormonal. It is a full system shift. I call it a full body assault. This is not just about your cycle changing. This is about your body recalibrating in real time. I am most likely in perimenopause. I must be, right? I cycle regularly, and I don't have the popular perimenopause symptoms such as hot flashes. Although I do have mood swings, which were worse when I was pregnant, to be honest. And honestly, HRT, which I'm going to discuss more later, has helped with the mood swings. Which is perfect segue into the mental and emotional side that many do not understand. Because, as I mentioned at the top of the show, perimenopause can look like anxiety, mood swings, irritability, low mood, overwhelm, brain fog, forgetfulness, loss of focus. Sometimes it can feel like you're losing your edge or your identity. And here's the truth. Some of these symptoms can overlap with what people associate with anxiety, depression, and even ADHD-like symptoms. That does not mean it's only perimenopause, but it also does not mean hormones are not playing a role. And too often, that piece gets ignored. And this is why I can't emphasize this enough. This is why a doctor must diagnose what is happening. Don't listen to your family. Don't even listen to your friends. Don't listen to the podcasts. Go to your doctor. And then, especially if you think it's perimenopause, try to find a doctor that is recognized by one of the menopause societies or other similar associations. My particular gynecologist, that's how I found her, and she's been tremendously helpful in what I've been dealing with. The physical reality is we need to stop reducing this to hot flashes. So yes, up to 80% of women experience them. Now, I have not. Like I said, I want to say I've probably been in perimenopause maybe 5 years if I go back and think about when I started to notice some of the symptoms, which I didn't know were the symptoms until recently, until I started, which was a year and a half ago, HRT. Now, I've always had night sweats during PMS, always. Right before my period, right before I started menstruating, I've always had night sweats. That has not changed. But see, that's just one piece of it, the hot flash. We're also talking about, like I just mentioned, night sweats, but I've always had them. Sleep disruption. I sleep like a log, but I do things to ensure that. The other night, I was up about 2 hours, my app said. I felt I was up, but my app said it was like 2 hours and 44 minutes. I am never up that long. I was exhausted. Chronic fatigue. I want to say no, I'm not chronically fatigued. That's me, period. That's me personally. Other people may be. Joint and muscle pain. Absolutely. My left shoulder, it's considerably weaker. And I've been working out religiously since a teenager. So that's also called frozen shoulder. I didn't know this until I started researching more about it, until I started listening to the podcasts, saw that I wasn't getting identified in these podcasts because I'm 58 and it's still regular. That's why I'm confused a little bit of why I am or I am not in perimenopause, because I'm very regular. Headaches. I don't want to say I always get headaches. They usually just happen when my husband is speaking. Heart palpitations. I don't have heart palpitations. However, my mother suffered greatly from heart palpitations. Now, who knew? So this was happening to her in her 50s and 60s. So 20, 25 years ago, nobody knew any of this. Vaginal dryness. I'm just going to giggle and say, no comment. Low libido. I'm going to put a sound effect of crickets chirping. Irregular bleeding? No, not me. But you could be experiencing that. I'm still fucking bleeding. Skin changes? Yes. I mean, I am 58, so I expect my skin to change. But I don't want to say zoom in closer because I don't want my husband, who is directing this right now, to zoom in closer. But right here on my chin, I have a breakout of pimples. I'm 58 years old. And one of the hardest parts, you can feel like a stranger in your own body. Yes, as someone who has always had ripped abdominals, even after 4 kids, that is no longer the case. Even increasing my workout regimen and adding protein. I have some cuts on the side, but I also have a little fat over it. So, what do? I can only speak for myself. This is what I do. Whatever I say here, if this interests you, you must visit with your physician and have a genuine conversation. I take progesterone and an estrogen patch under medical care. I move my body. I walk a little more than 2 miles every morning near the beach in nature, reciting gratitude. Yes, I am that person. After a few hours of working, I then take a break. We'll call it a lunch break. And I do 20 to 40 minutes of some type of resistance training or dance workout or yoga, something extra. I cycle regularly. I get my periods regularly. I could show you my calendar. I meditate every morning. I don't start my day without meditation. And not because it makes everything perfect, because it doesn't. I do this because it helps me stay grounded. It helps me stay connected to myself while my body is changing. I understand I cannot control what's happening. It's not about controlling your body. It's about learning how to work with it. I drink a lot of water, at least 64 ounces of water a day. I drink I start the day with 28 ounces first before I have anything else. I've added protein to my diet. Not easy for me as I am not hungry. Also, I don't really like meat. I have avoided sweets unless it's at special occasions and have reduced my alcohol consumption except when I'm due for my period and I crave wine. Sorry, I do. I crave wine. I await menopause, which by definition is a cessation of menstruation for 12 consecutive months. If for whatever reason, whatever stress may be happening in my life, my period is a little late, I'm like, maybe. And then it comes. Because I'm waiting for that missed period that I could start counting the months. Perimenopause is what I've described. And that's caused by a fluctuation of estrogen and a decline in ovarian function. So I'm going to try normalizing the experience because I get cross-eyed looks when I go to the store and buy my pads or tampons. What? I do. They're looking at me. Who's she buying that for? For me. But this is what I have to say clearly. If your body feels unfamiliar, if your mind feels a little foggy, if your emotions are amplified, if your sleep is off, if your cycle is unpredictable, or like me, still here when you thought it would be gone, you are not crazy. You are not weak. And you are not alone. And this is also where support matters. I am blessed. I have a very supportive husband who has been understanding throughout this entire process. Navigating this stage of life is not just physical. It affects your identity. It can affect your confidence. It's how you see yourself. It's how you function in your career, your relationships, and your daily life. And for a lot of us, it's when we say, fuck it all, and want to start our second act living as we want and not as we've been told. And this is where a professional coach such as myself can help. Not to diagnose, I cannot do that. Not to replace medical care, I cannot do that either. But to help you make sense of what you're experiencing. I am dealing with it as well. To help you regain clarity when your thinking feels scattered, help you rebuild confidence when you feel off center, and guide you to reconnect with who you are becoming, not who you used to be. Because this is a transition, and transitions require support. So, if you're in your 40s, 50s, or beyond, and your body feels unfamiliar, if your mind feels foggy, your emotions feel amplified, hear me clearly. The average may be 51 or 52, but average is not every woman's story. It is certainly not mine. For me, support has looked like HRT, movement, meditation, a good diet, and learning to listen to my body rather than fight it. Not perfectly, not magically, honestly. This season of your life deserves more conversation, more understanding, and a lot less dismissal. So please, share this with someone who might need this support today. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and visit coachingwithmissd.com for more resources. Until next time, keep sipping. And remember to live your life as your authentic self, your version, no one else's.